And shout out to Nick Strength and Power for always shouting out my channel. And he's very, very close to 1 million subscribers. So please head over there and subscribe if you haven't already.
All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story, let's start out this video with a strongman story. Some big strongman news just broke today. Mateusz Kieliszkowski, he just announced that he will not be competing in the 2020 World's Strongest Man, which to a lot of people is a really big deal because a lot of the fans think that Mateusz is he's like the fan favorite to win this year. Him and Brian Shaw are the two guys that a lot of people were talking about going into this year's World's Strongest Man because obviously Hafthor's not doing it. Obviously Eddie's no longer in professional strongman. And of course, your 2019 World's Strongest Man, Martins Licis, he is not doing this year's World's Strongest Man. So in a way, the title is wide open this year. And again, a lot of people felt that Mateusz was going to be the guy to possibly take it. And now things are looking like it's probably going to be Brian's year to take home that 5th title. But he put up this post on Instagram, and this was the reasoning he gave for not being able to compete in the World's Strongest Man. He says, so bad news this time. Unfortunately, I will not compete in this year's World's Strongest Man. During the last stretch of the triceps, which had not been a problem for me since the previous operation, planned retreatment after the competition and everything was corrected, but it got complicated too fast. I was on painkillers all through my periods and still got great results. I consider this year really unlucky. I struggled with health problems during a lot of performances, but despite everything, I always managed to participate in them. In fact, I now think someone just got a great gift from me. 1st place. I like that right there. That's a bold statement. So, you know, again, I think everyone was kind of predicting that he might win this year, and I think he even kind of knew that or felt that. So I think that's kind of a bold thing to say because I'm not going to be there. Now someone's going to get a gift of 1st place. And that might be Brian Shaw. And he goes on to say, I'll try to fix this and I'll be back next year. I apologize to all those who believed in me, those who helped and took an active part in my preparations. Now I'll keep my fingers crossed for my friend J.F. Caron. I believe you will succeed. Give 100% of yourself. And he puts a 1st place medal and a 1st place trophy next to that. So for all the strongman fans watching this, I know this is a huge story for you guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about what it means that Mateusz is now out of the 2020 World's Strongest Man. And what that means as far as who do you think is going to be this year's winner? Because now it's really wide open. Now, next up in the news, Larry Wheels is diving even deeper into the world of arm wrestling. He recently posted a video on his YouTube channel where he is arm wrestling Leonidas Arkona. And Leonidas, if you guys don't know, he's a very elite level strict curler. That's how I became familiar with him. He's got some very impressive strict curls. I believe his best in competition strict curl was over 200 pounds. And again, the all-time world record is 249. So he's a very accomplished strict curler and power lifter in general. But he also apparently dabbles in arm wrestling. And in Larry's video, they kind of tied. He beat him twice with the left hand, and Larry beat him twice with the right hand. It was a pretty good video. And in that video, Larry gave me 2 really good shout-outs, which I really appreciated. I've always liked Larry's channel. I thought his content was great, so it was cool to see Larry give me those shout-outs in his video. So, Larry, I just wanted to thank you in my video, say I appreciate it, and then return the favor. Tell people go check out your full video with Leonidas because it was a really good video. I do really enjoy the arm wrestling videos that Larry's been doing, actually. I think it's a nice change of content. So, shout-out to Larry. I really do appreciate it. Now, next up in the news, Hadi Choopan. So, Parsifar Mahdi, who has become one of our favorite sources for Hadi Choopan updates. I believe he's like Hadi's manager. He's his friend. He's his manager. It seems like they're together a lot during his Olympia prep. And he posted this picture of Hadi, which possibly is a recent physique update of Hadi. And if it is, I think Hadi's going to bring the same or even better crazy conditioning to this year's Mr. Olympia that he brought to last year's, because I think that's really the thing that made him stand out in 2019 was that insane level of conditioning that he had. But I want to go over, so this was on Parsifar Mahdi's story that he posted this picture of Hadi. Now, the next story after this story, this next story translates to roughly, this is a very rough translation, but it translates to that they are working on getting Hadi his visa to compete at this year's Mr. Olympia. If you guys remember last year, even before the virus and all that stuff, it was still a difficulty for Hadi to be able to get a visa to the U.S. to compete just because of the relations at that time. between the two countries. So the next story I found interesting because it says, again, roughly, that they have not yet got that visa for this year's Mr. Olympia. So I'm still wondering, maybe if there's a possibility that Hadi isn't at this year's Mr. Olympia. I certainly hope he's there because I think he's one of the best bodybuilders in the world right now, and it would be a shame to not have him on that Olympia stage. I think he needs to be there. I think he's got a chance of beating, most of that lineup if he comes in as crazy as he did last year, if not crazier. But I do think it's noteworthy here that it looks like they're kind of saying it's not a sealed deal yet. It's not guaranteed that we're going to see Hadi at the Olympia yet, and it's not guaranteed that Hadi can get over here to compete yet. So I just think that's something that we should take a note of. Now, next up in the news, champion powerlifter Ivan Makarov attempted another heavy strict curl. Now, Ivan, again, he is the guy that attempted the 502 deadlift. He was trying to break Hafthor's record this year. He did fail that attempt, but he is one of the top deadlifters in the world right now, and that's why he did get the opportunity to attempt that record. But he's been switching over to strict curl lately. Now, he recently got, I believe, a 90 kg strict curl, but he recently attempted to go even heavier at 95 kgs, and he did fail the 95 kg attempt, but he says in the caption of that that he's going to be attempting 100, and he thinks 100 is going to come soon. Now, of course, 100 would be 13 kgs away from the all-time strict curl world record. So maybe we're going to see Ivan Makarov continue to pursue the strict curl, and if he does, I think that's going to be pretty interesting. And that might be an interesting future collab for Larry Wheels. He seems like, Ivan seems like the type of guy that would make a great collab video with Larry if they did some strict curls or deadlifts or whatever. I think that would be cool. But shout out to Ivan, man. He's doing, it's cool to see him doing the strict curl. Now, next up in the news, Steve Laureus. So Steve Laureus, a physique update. He is qualified for the Classic Physique Mr. Olympia, and he's another guy that I feel has a solid shot at that top 6 in Classic Physique. I think Steve has an insane physique. Crazy small waist, super wide upper body. He's got really good arms. I think he's made a tremendous amount of improvements between his Classic Physique debut and now in terms of actually putting on some significant size to his upper body. I think, he was a little bit taller, and when he first started, he looked a little bit thin on stage, maybe a little lanky. Lanky might not be the right word, but still, he's put on a lot of size since then. He's made a lot of improvements, and I think with his structure, the way he's wearing those improvements, I think is going to benefit him tremendously going into the Olympia. So he posted this physique update. Obviously, it's recent because he's got a mask on. He says this was after his morning cardio. He's hitting a vacuum pose and a front double bicep. He looks like he's in decent shape here. I think he could be a little bit tighter, but I think this is an indicator of his plan is maybe to come in a little bit bigger at the Olympia, which is what a lot of people said they think he should do. So maybe we will see a bigger, better, more improved version of Steve at this year's Classic Physique Olympia, and maybe that will mean a much higher placing. Now, speaking of Classic Physique, George the Bull Peterson, who made his successful transition from Classic to 212 this year, he is going to be competing in the 212 Olympia. He qualified after winning 212 at the Tampa Pro. George posted another physique update. A very brief one, this physique update was, but this was around 7 weeks out, hitting a most muscular shot. George is in fantastic shape. I mean, you can tell he is really peeled, and he's going to be peeled at the Olympia, and I think his 212 debut is going to be, his 212 debut at the Olympia is going to be one of the most exciting parts of the Olympia weekend coming up in December, because I think George, he's got a shot of winning the 212 Olympia straight up. If he comes in with crazy conditioning, I think he could win it. But what do you guys think? Where do you think George will place in the 212 Olympia lineup? Top 3, top 6, top 10? Do you think he could win the whole show? I personally think he's really impressive. Now, the final story that I wanted to talk about today, Sean Connery passed away this past weekend, unfortunately, at the age of 90 years old. But the reason why I wanted to include that in this video is because Sean was a member of the bodybuilding community. A lot of people might not know this, but he did actually compete in the 1953 Mr. Universe competition. And I've got a video about that on this channel. If you guys want to check that out, just search, I guess, Sean Connery on my channel. But he was a bodybuilder prior to becoming the prolific and successful actor that he was. So rest in peace to Sean Connery. That's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. We are now only 12,000 subscribers away from that 1 million subscriber milestone. So we're getting very close. Every subscriber counts. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, Nick Strength and Power signing out.
So check out Arm Wrestling TV, Leonidas Arkona on YouTube, and Nick Strength and Power. He always shouts out our channel. So again, please help him try and get 1 million. He's very close and he deserves it. He's a great guy. Check out teampersonalrecords.com for the best lifting gear in the game, and we'll see you guys in the next one.